6-point game.
Man, what's good, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. This is TFD, and we're here again with another breakdown. And this one is special because when I tell you that the Indiana Fever are not just playing basketball but making a serious playoff push, I mean every single word, because what went down against the Seattle Storm was the type of performance that gets the whole league paying attention. And it wasn't just about getting a win, it was about making a statement, letting everybody know that this Fever squad is no longer the young, inexperienced group people could overlook earlier in the season. Nah, they're coming together, clicking at the right time, and straight up handling business like a veteran squad. Running through Seattle with power, with confidence, with poise, and with a whole lot of energy from the home crowd, because Indianapolis is behind them in full force. The vibes in the building were like a playoff atmosphere, and it's only the regular season, but when you see the way the city is embracing this team, the way Caitlin Clark is pulling in fans the same way Peyton Manning used to have the city rocking when he led the Colts, it's clear this is bigger than basketball. This is culture. This is community. This is Indiana standing up proud again for its team. And the Fever are delivering in ways that go beyond just wins and losses. They're rewriting the narrative about who they are and where they're headed. Now, let's just pause for a second. Because before we get into the breakdown of how Aliyah Boston flipped the switch and went into full savage mode, dominating the paint like she was built to own it, we got to take a moment to talk about the Caitlin Clark effect. Because what's happening right now in Indianapolis is nothing short of a takeover. And I don't say that lightly, the whole city is wrapped around her energy. She's got that superstar aura, that magnetism that pulls people in, and she's doing it while staying grounded, taking the time to sign autographs for fans, making sure the kids, the families, the longtime WNBA supporters all get that interaction. That moment that makes them lifelong fans of her and of this team. And that's exactly what the face of the league does. She's not just dropping dimes and hitting logo threes on the court. She's building the culture off of it. And when you combine that with the way she carries herself, the fits she pulls up in, the swag, the confidence, it's no wonder people are comparing her to legends like Peyton Manning and Larry Bird. Because those guys didn't just win games, they defined an era in Indiana sports. And Caitlin Clark is on that exact same trajectory, looking like the future GOAT in the making, right before our eyes, giving us a show every single night. But let's shift to the main event of this win. And that is Aliyah Boston, because I've been saying it for weeks and I'll keep on saying it until it's second nature. When Aliyah Boston is locked in, when she's aggressive, when she decides she's going to dominate the paint, it's game over. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. She is that powerful, that skilled, and that unguardable. And tonight she reminded everyone just how dangerous she is by putting the Seattle Storm's front court in the blender, turning them into straight-up barbecue chicken, like Shaq always says, and I'm talking extra seasoning. Hot sauce, ranch, whatever flavor you want, she was serving it up, and Seattle had no answer. Look at the numbers, 27 points, 9 rebounds, 10 of -18 shooting, and most importantly, she got up 18 shots, which is the aggressive Aliyah we've been waiting to see all season long. Because when she demands the ball and gets those touches, she's a walking problem for any defense in the WNBA. And the part I love most is that she wasn't settling for jumpers. She was planting herself on that low block, establishing position, using her footwork, her strength, and her timing to punish defenders possession after possession. And that's the kind of tone-setting play that makes the Fever dangerous in a playoff race. I mean, let's keep it real. Nika Ogwimik is a phenomenal player, a future Hall of Famer. But she's undersized against Boston, and it showed, because Aliyah was bullying her in the paint. Getting elbows in, carving out space, and finishing, with ease. And then you've got Ezi Magbagor, who is long and athletic, and has tons of potential. But she's still developing, and she's not at the level yet to neutralize a locked-in Boston. So the Storm were stuck, helpless, with no defensive solution. And that's exactly why I keep pushing the narrative that Aliyah has to play with this level of aggression every single night. Because when she does, there's literally nobody in the league who can check her one-on-one, and it forces defenses to collapse, which in turn opens up looks for Caitlin, for Kelsey Mitchell, for Nolissa Smith, and that's when the Fever's offense becomes impossible to contain. And shout out to Coach Stephanie White while we're at it, because this wasn't just about the offense. The defense tonight was just as impressive, clamping down and holding the Storm to only 75 points. And that's no accident. That's a team locked in on both ends of the floor, communicating, rotating, contesting, and making sure Seattle never found their rhythm. because the Storm were struggling to buy a bucket, and honestly, with the way they've been moving lately, you have to question some of their roster decisions, like the move for Brittany Sykes, which right now isn't giving them the lift they were hoping for. And when you contrast that with Indiana, who are finally finding their identity, you see the difference between a team building momentum and a team still searching for answers. Now, while Boston was the star of the night, let's not overlook the contributions from the role players, because you know I got to give flowers to Lexi Hull, who was out there doing the dirty work. Scrapping for rebounds, diving for loose balls, making those hustle plays that don't always pop out on the box score but are absolutely essential to winning games. And her grabbing 9 rebounds was a huge piece of why Indiana controlled the glass and set the tone physically. And that's the type of effort that builds winning culture. Because when the stars are shining and the role players are doing their jobs, suddenly you have a squad that's tough to beat. Put all of this together, and what you get is a Fever team that not only secured a huge win but also swept the Seattle Storm for the season. And that's the kind of psychological edge that matters. Because when you can say you handled a quality opponent every single time you faced them, it gives you confidence heading into the playoffs. It builds belief, and it tells the rest of the league, we're not to be taken lightly anymore. And let's not forget, this was a must-win situation with the playoff race heating up, the margin for error shrinking, and the pressure mounting, and the Fever rose to the occasion, showing resilience, composure, and the kind of fire that makes fans believe this run isn't just about sneaking into the postseason but about making real noise once they get there. That's why I keep telling y'all, what we're witnessing is special. It's not just about a win here or a stat line there, it's about the birth of something bigger. The rise of a new era in Indiana Fever basketball, fueled by Caitlin Clark's superstar presence, Aliyah Boston's dominance, and the collective buy-in of a roster that's finally learning how to win together. And if they keep this same energy, the WNBA better watch out. Because the Fever are coming, and they're not asking for permission. They're taking what's theirs, step by step, game by game, win by win, and it's only going to get crazier from here, because the city of Indianapolis is behind them. The fans are electric, the players are locked in, and the moment is here. So let's buckle up, because this playoff push is about to get real, and the Fever just showed the world they're ready for it? Ready for it?
Here's Mitchell with it. Cross court to Howard, looking high-low for Dante.
That's the kind of performer she is. And I keep telling y'all, there are just certain women on this squad that you can always count on night in and night out. Players who bring consistency, energy, and the kind of toughness you need in crunch time, and Sophie Cunningham is definitely one of those. Lexi Hull is absolutely one of those. And KK Michaela T. Yeah, she's one too. And honestly, I feel like Michaela needs to be out there on the floor more because the kind of energy she brings completely flips the game when she's locked in. And when it comes down to those tight, crunch time, game on the line type of moments, I'm trusting players like Lexi. I'm trusting KK because they show up and make the little winning plays. And listen, I love Kelsey Mitchell. Don't get it twisted. She's a bucket getter and one of the best guards in the league. But sometimes, I feel like towards the end of games, we could maybe let Kelsey be the initiator a little more. Let her set the table, spread the floor, and not put everything on her shoulders to always take the final shot. Especially when Caitlin Clark isn't out there because her absence completely changes the dynamic of this Fever offense. But yo, we got to talk about Odyssey Sims because man, she came in hooping like a seasoned vet, dropping 22 points with 6 dimes and 3 boards. That's veteran leadership and poise right there. And it finally feels like the Fever have that true point guard presence again because she controlled the tempo, she organized the offense, and those buckets she got came at clutch moments. Momentum swinging plays that made a difference, and you could just feel the energy shift with her on the court. And let's keep it real. When players like Odyssey Sims or even Ari McDonald get the chance to suit up for the Fever under these bright lights in Indy, especially with Caitlin Clark in the mix when she's healthy, it motivates them to elevate their games to another level, because playing alongside greatness and under a national spotlight pushes you. It forces you to either crack under the pressure, or shine. And tonight Odyssey was shining bright, raining buckets like it was vintage Odyssey Sims, and the fans saw it, the teammates felt it. That's just facts. And I cannot even explain how happy that makes me because this Fever team has been searching for that steady hand at the guard spot to complement Caitlin and Kelsey. And tonight they found it. Now I know y'all want to talk about the standings because I was checking them right along with you. And after this win the Fever sit at 22-18, Still locked in at that number 6 seed with Seattle right behind at 22-19, so that head tiebreaker was absolutely massive. It's the kind of win that could end up deciding playoff positioning. And it just makes everything that much sweeter, knowing we handled business against them again. And yo, Caitlin Clark Day at the arena, straight fire, man. If anybody out there snagged one of those shirts, please hit your boy up, because I need one for the collection. That's wall-worthy. That's history. That's memorabilia you frame and keep forever, because these are the moments that define a franchise turning the corner. But listen, the biggest takeaway from all of this is simple. We have to keep hope alive, keep stacking these wins, keep pushing forward with momentum. Because if we do that and get Caitlin Clark back, sooner rather than later, this team goes from dangerous to downright scary. Because when she's on the court, everything changes, the spacing, the flow, the confidence. And I got to shout out Coach Stephanie White, because I thought she dropped the ball with her rotations and adjustments the last outing. But tonight she came through. Solid substitutions, smart sets, and just kept Seattle off balance all night long. And you got to give credit where it's due. And while we're giving out credit, let's talk Lexi Hull again, because you cannot measure her impact with just a glance at the box score. You just can't. She was everywhere, clamping Skylar Diggins, locking up Gabby Williams, putting them both in straitjackets where they couldn't do anything, nothing at all, and then she adds 9 rebounds, a steal, and all that defense. That's a complete game from a role player who's becoming indispensable, and her hustle made a huge difference. Now, I'll be real with y'all. The bench didn't give us much tonight, but they also didn't kill the momentum either. Bree Turner chipped in with 4 points and 4 boards, though I did see her try to throw up a left-handed shot.